Sri Bhagavan said, "Though you are speaking learned words, you lament for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are truly learned lament not for the living nor for the dead. There was never a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Just as the embodied soul gradually passes within this gross physical body from boyhood or girlhood to youth and to old age, similarly the soul receives another body at death. An intelligent person is not bewildered by the destruction and rebirth of the body." O daughter of Kunti, when the senses come in contact with the sense objects, one experiences cold, heat, happiness, and distress. Such experiences are flickering and temporary, O daughter of Kunti, and the scriptures say that you must tolerate them. O best of ladies, that sober person who is not disturbed by heat and cold, and who considers happiness and distress to be the same, is certainly qualified for deathlessness, or liberation from the endless cycle of birth and death, in the form of attainment of the soul's perfect and eternal spiritual form. Of the temporary, such as winter or summer, there is no permanent existence, and of the eternal, such as the soul, there is no destruction. Those who know the truth have reached this conclusion by deliberating on what is temporary and what is eternal. You should know that which pervades the entire body, the imperishable soul, to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. The material bodies of the soul, who is eternal, indestructible, and immeasurable, are known to be perishable. Therefore, beloved, fight. She who considers the soul to be either the killer or the killed is ignorant, for the self neither slays nor is slain by anyone. The soul neither takes birth nor does she die, nor is she affected by the repeated growth and dwindling of the body. She is unborn, eternal, and ever existing. Though primeval, she remains ever youthful. When the body is destroyed, the soul is not annihilated. O beloved, how can a person who knows the soul to be eternally birthless, immutable, and indestructible kill anyone, or cause anyone to be killed? Just as a person discards his old garments and acquires new ones, the soul similarly gives up old bodies and accepts new ones. The soul can never be pierced by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor dried by the wind. The soul is indivisible, insoluble, and cannot be burned or dried. She is eternal, all-pervading, permanent, non-moving, and ever-existing. She is unmanifest and inconceivable, and being free from the 6 types of transformations such as birth and death, she is immutable. After understanding the soul in this way, it is not proper for you to lament. If, however, you think that the soul is perpetually born and perpetually dies, there is still no reason for you to grieve, O mighty armed one. For one who is born, death is certain, and for one who has died, birth is certain. Therefore it is not proper for you to grieve for that which is unavoidable. O my darling, all beings are manifest before their birth, become manifest in the interim stage after their birth, and after they die, they once again become unmanifest. So what cause can there be to lament? Some look upon the soul as amazing, some speak of him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing. Others, however, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O my precious, the eternal soul who resides within the body of all living beings can never be slain. Therefore it is not proper that you grieve for the soul. Moreover, even after considering your duty as a warrior, it is not at all proper for you to hesitate, as there is no more auspicious engagement for a warrior than to fight for spiritual purposes. O sublime, beautiful one. Fortunate are those warriors for whom such an opportunity to fight comes of its own accord. It is just like a wide open door to heavenly planets. However, if you do not perform your perfect duty of fighting this spiritual battle, you will lose your fame and your work as a warrior. Furthermore, you will simply reap bad reactions. People will speak of your infamy for all time. For an honorable person, dishonor is more painful than death. Great warriors will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear. Those who have always honored you highly will deem you insignificant. Your enemies will scorn you with many harsh words while criticizing your ability. Oh, sweetheart, what could be more painful for you than this? O daughter of Kunti, if you are killed in battle, you will attain the heavenly planets. And if you are victorious, you will enjoy the earthly kingdom. The earthly queendom. Therefore, stand up and fight with determination. Considering happiness and distress, gain and loss, and victory and defeat to be equal, you should prepare to fight. In this way, you will not incur any evil. O daughter of love, thus far I have explained this knowledge, but now I will impart to you knowledge pertaining to the science of devotion, by which you will become freed from bondage to this material world. Endeavors on the path of devotion are neither fruitless nor do they contain any flaw. Even a little practice frees one from the great danger of transmigrating endlessly within the cycle of repeated birth and death in this material world. O daughter of amazing beauty, the resolute intelligence of those who are on the path of devotion is one-pointed, but the intelligence of those who are averse to devotion branches endlessly. Oh dear. Those who are foolish reject the real meaning out of attachment to ornamental statements that glorify the pursuit of celestial pleasures, but which yield only poisonous effects. There is no higher truth, they say, than these proclamations. Dedicated to attaining the heavenly planets, those whose hearts are contaminated by lust perform many elaborate sacrificial rituals that bestow aristocratic birth and award the results of their fruitive activities. They declare these to be the highest objective of such declarations. Those foolish persons devoid of discrimination who are attached to enjoyment and opulence, and whose minds have been captured by these flowery words, do not attain the resolute intelligence for exclusive absorption in Sri Bhagavan. O you, give up being influenced by the three binding forces of material nature that are described in the sayings, and become established in transcendence, which is beyond them. Be free from all dualities, such as honor and dishonor, and do not be concerned about acquiring assets or maintaining what you have. Become situated in spiritual existence by using the intelligence awarded by me. The various necessities served by many small wells can easily be served by a large lake. Similarly, whatever results are attained by the worship of various demigods, as described in the sayings, can easily be attained through the worship of Sri Bhagavan by a learned one, endowed with devotion, who knows the essence of the sayings. You are only eligible to perform your prescribed work, but you have no right to the fruits of your actions. You should not consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your actions, nor should you become attached to neglecting your duties. O you very intelligent friend, completely give up attachment to the success or failure of the results of your work. Thus connected in devotion, perform your prescribed duty with equanimity. Such equanimity is called yoga. Oh, my dear friend, action performed by those desirous of its fruit is vastly inferior to selfless action Action performed by those desirous of its fruit is vastly inferior to selfless action offered to the Lord. You should take shelter of this selfless action. Those who desire the fruits of their action are misers. One who is fixed in pure intelligence relinquishes both virtue and vice in this very life. Therefore strive to worship the Supreme through performing selfless action. Working under the shelter of pure intelligence with equanimity in both success and failure is indeed the art of all action. Enlightened sages endowed with pure intelligence give up the results born of works, thus becoming freed from the cycle of birth and death. They eventually attain my home, the state, beyond all mundane miseries. When your intelligence has completely crossed beyond the dense forest of illusion, you will become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. When your intelligence becomes detached from hearing the various conflicting materialistic statements and interpretations of the sayings, when it becomes free from all other attachments while remaining steadfast in natural bliss, or meditating upon the Supreme, you will attain pure devotion. The beloved answered, O Bhagavan, what are the symptoms of a person whose intelligence is fixed in bliss? How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Sri Bhagavan said, O blessed one, when the living entity renounces all material desires arising from the mind, and when his mind thus controlled, he becomes completely satisfied by the blissful personal form of his own self. She is to be known as a person of steady intelligence. One who is not disturbed by the three types of miseries given by one's own body or mind, given by others, and given by the demigods or nature, who remains free from hankering in the presence of plentiful opportunities for sensual happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage. Sage of steady mind. One who is always devoid of mundane affection and who neither rejoices in prosperity nor despairs in adversity is known to be a person of fixed intelligence. When a person can completely withdraw her senses from their respective sense objects at will, just as a tortoise withdraws its limbs into its shell, then she is said to be of fixed intelligence. She who identifies herself with her body may restrict her enjoyment by withdrawing the senses from their objects, but her taste for sense pleasure remains. One whose intelligence is fixed, however, has realized the great soul. Therefore, her taste for sense objects automatically ceases. Daughter of love, the senses, when agitated, can forcefully steal away the mind, even a person who is endeavoring for liberation. Therefore, one should subdue the senses by surrendering to me in devotion and remain under my shelter, because only one whose senses are controlled is fixed in intelligence. She alone is of fixed intelligence. By continuously meditating on the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment to them. Attachment gives rise to lust, which in turn leads to awakening of anger. Anger gives rise to utter delusion, and from such delusion comes loss of memory. Loss of memory destroys one's intelligence, and when intelligence is destroyed, one's entire spiritual direction in life is lost. One then falls into the ocean of material existence. A lady of controlled senses, however, is free from attachment and aversion, attains the stage of joyfulness even while enjoying suitable objects through her senses. When that self-controlled person attains the stage of joyfulness, all of her miseries are dispelled, and the intelligence of such devotion soon becomes completely fixed upon attaining her desired goal. One whose mind is uncontrolled, however, does not have the intelligence to understand the science of the soul. Such an unintelligent person is unable to meditate upon the Supreme. A person unable to perform such meditation cannot attain peace, and without peace where is the possibility of happiness? Just as the wind sweeps away a boat on the water, the mind of an unrestrained person runs behind any one object of the senses. Therefore, O mighty armed one whose senses are completely restrained from their respective sense objects, is of fixed intelligence. Spiritual intelligence, which is directed toward the soul, is like night for materialistic common people, who are enchanted by the material energy. One who is of fixed intelligence, however, remains awake in that intelligence, and when intelligence is absorbed in sense objects, the common person remains awake. For the sage who perceives transcendental reality, that consciousness is the darkest night. In other words, such a person accepts sense objects in an appropriate way, without being attached to them. Just as countless rivers flow into the ocean, which is full and always still, without causing any disturbance to it, similarly, various desires flow into the mind of one who is of fixed intelligence. Yet, her equilibrium is never disturbed. Such persons alone can attain peace, not those who strive always to fulfill their desires. Only those who give up all desires and who wander free from hankering, false ego, and possessiveness attain peace. Oh, beloved, attaining the divine in this way is called becoming spiritually situated. After attaining this state, one is no longer deluded. If, at the time of death, one is situated in this consciousness, even for a moment, she attains liberation.